Most stock handguards are made from plastic, and I suspect that they do not much more than deflect wind or stop bushes and twigs from snagging on your controls. A couple of months ago I had an unfortunate encounter with a car and the Africa Twins stock handguard snapped instantly. This admittedly is a bit like locking the stable door after the horse has bolted, but today I'm going to fit a set of what are probably the most popular handguards on the market to see if they live up to their reputation. This video is being brought to you with the support of Bikeshore. Bikeshore have been around for 30 years and they pride themselves on treating every customer as an individual. Whether you're riding something standard like this Africa Twin or something a little bit more unusual, a grey import, a trike, a quad or even a Chinese scooter. Hit the link in the description below to find out more and get a quote that's tailored specifically for your setup. So in this video I'm going to quickly take you through the installation process to see how involved it is, and I'll also take a look at a couple of different cover options from Barkbusters that you might want to choose in varying riding conditions. Finding the correct kit is simple. Just search for your exact bike model on the Barkbusters website and they'll tell you exactly what you need. I opted for what is probably their most popular cover, the VPS in white, to match the bike, and to add a bit of contrast I paired it with the black aluminium backbone. So let's get them fitted. Now this little bit here is actually an extra on the Africa Twin. All you get when you buy the bike is the standard black bar that comes underneath that. So the first thing we need to do is take that off, and it is literally bolt here and a bolt out of the end of the bar. Once the outer's removed, then this mount has to come off as well, the bolt here, and then to be safe just put that bolt back in to hold the lever in place. Screw in the bar end adapter and then just nip that up, not too tight. You've got a washer and a bar end weight, so put the washer inside the bar end weight, put that over the top. We can worry about that angle in a little bit, so don't tighten it fully. But again, just check that that throttle is not rubbing, and that's the purpose of putting that little washer on the inside there. Now it's time to put the clamp together. This piece bolted onto the main handlebar clamp, and this is handed as well, so make sure you get that round the right way. So it's not that easy to show you, but that's the clamp that bolts around the bars, and then you've got the secondary piece, and this is where it becomes apparent that it's handed because it will only fit one way around. And this hasn't yet bolted in, but you see there's a bolt that goes through into here, and then you've got that one that goes up there. So once this is bolted to the bracket, which is bolted to the clamp, you can sort of tighten that up a little bit, but leave it relatively loose so that you can rotate this round to make sure you've got the handguard in the right position, and then you can tighten everything up. Post that, this won't get in the way. That's the standard VPS, but I'm going to put the extensions on, which just screw into the back just to give it a little bit more height. And then comes the satisfying part of screwing them into place using the black screws in the kit. This is slotted, so you have got a little bit of movement to help you get the alignment done. And there you go. Once that's done, you can then just make sure that you've got proper clearance. I'm going to have to rotate that up there to make sure I've got clearance on full lock, and then I can nip up all the bolts when we're done on this side. And just to give you an idea, here's a before and after. Already you can see that adding that little extra bit gives you that extra coverage as well as the strength of that aluminium bar. On the other side it's pretty much exactly the same, but there is one extra step that you need. You have to put an adapter on the handbrake lever, and that's obviously only for DCT models. Non-DCT models, it's exactly the same as the other side. So up until this point the process is the same. Take the handguard off, take this bolt out here to remove that cover, but there's a little bit that you have to change on this part here, and that involves removing this bolt, replacing it with the longer bolt that's in the kit, and there's this little bracket that has to sit on the underside here so that that lever doesn't return as far, because if you put that there you can see that it sits inside. If I didn't have that in there, the lever fouls on this here. So you can see it doesn't go back quite as far. It does mean that now sits inside here, and all that means now is I just need to adjust that brake as needed, and then it's just a case of putting everything else back together. And now the only difference when it comes to putting this back together is when you come to bolt this bracket to here, there's a spacer that goes inside and there's a longer bolt. There you have it, really straightforward job. The instructions online are really good, so if you don't all follow my ones, there's very detailed ones on the Barkbusters website, but it's just a matter of taking your time, making sure you get everything laid out, and it's all straightforward, takes you no time at all. I think with these all white VPS guards with this bike, it looks fantastic, and I can't wait to get it out on the road. Obviously, I'm not going to crash the bike intentionally just to test these, but in the time that I've been riding with them, they do feel robust. The customer feedback and testimonials over the years have been very, very strong. You hear very few, if any, negative comments about them. I did have some years back on a KTM adventure bike. I dropped that several times, had no issue with them whatsoever. So I think they are a really good option for you in terms of that extra protection. They come in a multitude of colours, which is good to see, so you'll be able to get something to suit your bike, whatever that may be. So let's take a look at a couple of the other cover options that you have, which were very kindly supplied to me by Barkbusters. The VPS with that extra bit offer a decent amount of coverage, but what if you want a little bit more? Well, I've got two options. The first one are the Storm covers. This is another straightforward plastic cover that bolts onto the crossbar. This has got a slightly different fitting. This just fits on the bar here, and then you have brackets to bolt on the back. So as you can see now, side by side with it fitted, this offers much more weather protection. It's about the same sort of height as this, but it comes around the side much more, which is really evident from the side view, and across over the top and underneath here. Again, probably a nice all year round one, but when it's warm in the summer, I prefer to go for this because I can, if I want to, just unbolt that, take that top one off and get maximum airflow. Of course, you can run it without anything on at all and just using these bash guards if that's the way you want to go. The other option I have to look at is going to come in really handy in the winter, and that's a set of bar muffs. These, as you would imagine, just slip over the end there and give full coverage, insulated, really useful in the winter. There's a big bag of fixings in the kit that will cover every eventuality, but if you have already installed these, then these are a really easy fix. You've got an aluminium bar that runs in a pocket down the side, just to give that extra bit of rigidity. You can then bolt that through the original bolt here, and then just use this strap around the handlebars to pull it tight. You could put it on over the top of this. It doesn't work particularly well with the extra bit added, or you could just take this off and put it directly onto the mount, which is probably the better way to do it. So with that aluminium bar in there, you can slide that over the top. One part you will need from the kit is that little aluminium finisher, because that's going to sit in the recess to stop things from moving around. So that fixes that piece in there nicely. And then the other side, you need to unhook the strap, pull that underneath, and then you can just pull this tight. It doesn't work quite so well on this because I've got mirror extenders, so my mirror would normally be here, so that would fit up against that. And there you've got complete coverage. If you want to fill in the gap, there is a little insert, and that just gives you that extra bit of coverage. So there you go, simple video with a product that's very well known, but I thought I'd cover it off on this particular bike because there are a few changes. I absolutely love these. I've got far more protection than I had with the stock plastic one, so fingers crossed I don't have another running with a car, but if I do, then I'm hoping that my hands are going to be much more protected than they were before. If you've got any questions, then let me know in the comment section down below, but all that leaves me to say is until next time, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!